or you can actually meditate on some Om, or you can meditate on different objects. All that is bogus according to Srimad Bhagavatam. If we say the exact process of even Ashtanga Yoga, which one is supposed to do is meditation on the Supreme Lord's form only. And there is no other anything vague object of meditation. Even breathing meditation is actually doesn't come under the kind of meditation which Ashtanga Yoga is supposed to do. So there he mentions two verses which are very amazing. You also can recite, or if you have, you can also refer. 3:28 to 21. It says, Sanchintayed Bhagavatas Charanarvindam Vajrankushadhvaja Saroruhalanchanadhyam Uttangarakta Vilasannakha Chakravala Jyotsnabhirahatamahadhrudayandhakaram. It says, Sanchintayed Bhagavatas Charanarvindam. Sanchintayed means one should focus, meditate, or one should put all one's attention on what? Bhagavatas Charanarvindam, on the lotus feet of Supreme Lord. And we may ask, so what is there to meditate on lotus feet? So there it is said, there are many signs, symbols, which is there on the lotus feet. That's what one should actually meditate on. Vajra, Ankusha, Dhvaja, Saroru. Saroru is lotus, Saroruha. Lanchana is flag, Lanchanadhyam. So all these are the different symbols. Or not only this much, there are many more, which we'll also discuss. So, and not only this, Uttunga Rakta Vilasan Naka Chakravala. That means he has his nails, his lotus feet or the bottom portion is very reddish. We all have seen and we have taken darshan. And if you have observed, his lotus feet at the bottom portion is reddish. Now, on that lotus feet, there are toenails which are like orb of moon. And that orb of moon is actually spreading great effulgence. And that effulgence, what it does, it says, Jyotsnabir ahata mahad hridaya andhakaram. Actually, it can nullify the ignorance which is there in the heart of the devotees who are meditating on those lotus feet. That's what it is said. So Prabhupada says, the devotee should first concentrate his mind on Lord's lotus feet, which are adorned with all the symbols. The splendor of their beautiful ruby nails resembles the orb of the moon. It displays the thick gloom of one's heart. This small purport, which is very important, I'll read that portion. The Lord's soul is depicted with distinctive lines resembling thunderbolt, flag, lotus flower, and a goat. The luster of his toenails, which are brilliantly prominent, resembles the light of the moon. If a yogi looks upon the marks of the Lord's soul and on the blazing brilliance of his nails, then he can be freed from the darkness of ignorance in material existence. Liberation is not achieved by mental speculation, but by seeing the light emanating from the lustrous toenails of the Lord. Okay, this is one. Next verse is also very nice. So that one verse also we will recite. Yat shaucha nisrita sarit pravarodakena तीर्थेन मूर्ध्यधिकृतेन शिवः शिवो भूत् ध्यातुर्मनश्शमलशैलनिसृष्टवज्रम् ध्यायेच्चिरं भगवतश्चरणारविन्दम्. Here it is said, one should meditate on those lotus feet. Dhyayet chiram. Chiram means for long periods of time. That means one should constantly meditate on this lotus feet. What is the significance of this lotus feet? Yat shaucha nisrita sarit pravarodakena. Actually, from the Lord's lotus feet, there is a river of water that is flowing. What is that? Ganga. And that Ganga is being held by Tirthena Murnya Adhikritena Shiva Shivobhut. It is being held by Lord Shiva on his head, Murdni. And what has happened? Because of which he has become Shiva. That means he has become very auspicious. Just by holding the water which is emanating from Lord's lotus feet. And now what happens to those devotees who meditate on those lotus feet? Dhyatur mana shamala shaila nisrishta vajram. This is very amazing. It says shamala shaila is mountain. And what is this mountain? It is shamala. Shamala means the sin. Shamala shaila nisrishta means it breaks by the thunderbolt. What is the thunderbolt? Is the meditation. When a devotee does meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord, it actually breaks the mountain of sin by the thunderbolt of Lord's. Actually, there is a thunderbolt which is there in the lotus feet of the Lord. That cuts. So Prabhupada writes a small, very amazing purport. So I feel that I will just read. The mind of the conditioned soul, on account of its association with the material energy from time immemorial, contains heaps of dirt in the form of desires to lord it over material nature. Actually, this mental desires are very strong. And we may see that at a small young age, we may not have so many desires. Or we may just have simple desires of playing with toys, all that kind. But as we start, our body starts growing, and there are so many changes that happen at a mental stage, psychological. We start seeing there are so many newer and newer demands that start arising in the body and in the mind. Actually, they are so powerful. We think that I can overcome them. But actually, one starts saying that even a devotee, sadhaka, actually faces a tremendous struggle, especially at a mental level, to fight against all those. So, how to fight all of them? Because it is a heaps of dirt which is there. The dirt is like a mountain. And the mountain is also not very slippery. It is not loose. It is very hard. To break it is also not that easy. That's why Vajra Yuddha is only required. Then the thunderbolt only can come and crack it open. Who cuts the big mountains? Do we know? How does big mountains are actually cut? It is said earlier there were wings also to those mountains. So Indra actually has those thunderbolts. As soon as the mountains do, earlier they were flying from different places. That time Indra came and cut off the wings. And sometimes when they start growing too much also, Indra comes and smashes with the thunderbolt, and then it stops. So the thunderbolt has its very powerful effect. So like that, Jai Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maiya ki Jai, Shri Gauranga ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. So like that, our mind also has like that heaps of mountainous dirt, and it can only be cut by. So this dirt is like a mountain, but a mountain can be shattered when hit by a thunderbolt. Meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord acts like that thunderbolt on the mountain of the dirt in the mind of the yogi. If a yogi wants to shatter the mountain of dirt in his mind, he should concentrate on the lotus feet of the Lord and not imagine something void or impersonal. Prabhupada is very clearly saying. Actually, impersonal meditation or voidist meditation, it is actually not at all authentic, shastric ways. Because whatever Shukdev Goswami is mentioning, it is all authentic ways of meditation. Even authentically, this yoga form is not proper. Because the dirt has accumulated like a solid mountain, one must meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord, not for short time. Because one may say that, I have chanted for few years, but still I'm getting bad thoughts. I'm getting bad tendencies which are creeping in again and again. Or we may see that I want to overcome this. I'm trying so much, but still it's not going. That's why it is said not for short time, but for quite a long time. One should actually meditate. And also it is said, if one actually seriously one meditates on the Supreme Lord for a long time, then gradually this mountain becomes soft and it gets powdered. That means if one casually meditates and intermittently meditates, then the result is what? We can ourselves see. So the result, if we want to exactly see in our life, this is what one is supposed to do. For one who is accustomed to thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord constantly, however, it is a different matter. The devotees are so fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord that they do not think of anything else. Those who practice the yoga system must meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord. So now, this is what is mentioned. Now, we may see that, so when should we do meditation? Is there any? Now it is said, especially it is said when we are supposed to chant the holy names, what is expected of us is just hear the holy name. That's what is ideal thing that is supposed to be done. That means the concentration is pointed concentration on just hearing the holy name. Now, many times when we start doing it, we see that we are unable to hear the holy name. Honestly, when we say, it becomes so difficult to hear the holy name also. Why? The reason is very clear that we are not yet completely purified. So because of which mind it doesn't actually fix on the holy name. So that's why it is also said, instead of just having a pointed concentration on the holy name, we can also have a circle of concentration on the holy name. What is the difference between a circle and a point? Circle has lot of radius. So that means the circle of concentration means we can also have something, because when we are unable to have that pointed focus, instead of mind getting diverted into something material, we can also have a positive meditation, that is on meditation on Krishna's form, and that actually begins with meditation on lotus feet. If you see, when we are actually taking darshan of the Lord, the meditation actually begins by meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord. And then gradually it goes up and upper and upper. So like that, the circle of concentration or the focus we can have when we actually start even... Now if you see, there are some devotees, when they are actually doing japa, they keep some photo of lordships, where they actually, when their mind is going here and there, they actually bring back by actually having it. Or they have Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And I have seen one of my friend devotee, he has maintained one notebook. And he has put all the different taglines, big taglines. Let everything else wait. Just here. This is Satswarup Das Goswami Maharaj. And also, like that, there are Burijan Prabhu's, some famous and very striking quotations. He has just written, and after some, when mind starts going here and there, he just flips it. And then he keeps reading and then he hears. So like that, actually there are many things that a devotee can do. And now one authentic meditation which is also mentioned is meditation on the lotus feet. Now, if you see, there is Art of Chanting Hare Krishna book. In that, Mahanidhi Swami Maharaj, he mentions on the meditation on the lotus feet. Now, how many of us actually have seen the lotus feet of Supreme Lord containing many marks? Isn't it? We all have observed. Any of you know how many marks are there on the lotus feet of Krishna? 19. Exactly. 19 marks are there on lotus feet of both right and left foot of Krishna. 19 auspicious signs, symbols are there. Now, there also we were just reciting one verse. What one should meditate on? Vajrankusha dhvajasaroruha lanchanadhyam. One should actually meditate on lotus feet means meditate on these symbols. Then what does it mean, meditating on these symbols? Because each of these symbols have a great depth of meaning. So that's what we are actually going to see for today. If at all you have, actually I should have little told for a picture, which I could have shown. Otherwise, if those who have, you can actually have the lotus feet of Krishna image opened, and if you can see, I'll just describe in 15 minutes, how much ever possible, the different meanings that that lotus feet of Lord has. Okay. So there is lotus feet of Krishna. What are the marks that are there on the lotus feet of Krishna? That is mentioned. Okay. It is said there are 19 marks on the lotus feet of Krishna, and the 11 marks are there on the right foot, and 9 auspicious symbols are there on the left foot. Could you get? Some of you could get? Okay. If suppose somebody can share also for other devotees. So if you see the toenail of the first toe of Lord Krishna has there is at the bottom of the toe there is barley corn. So that is one first symbol, and just below the barley corn is the disc, the chakra, and just below that is umbrella, and beside it is there is a curved line which is going from bottom to the top. The first toe and the second toe, it is meeting at the middle, and beside it is a lotus flower, and then there is a unfurled flag which is there. That means a flat flag, and beside that is a elephant goad which is there at the bottom of the last toe, and the elephant goad below that is the thunderbolt which is there. So how many marks are over there? 8 are done. Okay. And below on the heel there is a swastika, and then there is a jamun fruit, blackberry fruit, and then there is octagon. So these 3 symbols, 3 plus 8 is 11. And on the left foot, at just bottom of the toe is conch shell, and then just below the middle toe is 2 concentric circles, and just below that is a bow, which is unstringed bow. Okay, and below that is what did they say? What did they say? Hoof of cow, calf. It is a hoof of a calf, and then there are 4 water pots, and then there is a triangle, and below that is a half moon, and then at the bottom is a fish. So at least this much we could know what all symbols are there on lotus feet of Krishna. Now we will try to little understand what do these mean, these different. Okay, so it is said, first we'll see whatever possible, we'll try to understand the fish which is there on the left foot heel of Krishna's lotus feet. So there the fish, actually what does it indicate? So it is said the mind of a devotee is very restless, just like a fish. If you have seen a fish in aquarium, any of you had been taking care of fishes in your childhood or at home? Oh, I think, yeah. So if you have very closely observed, their fishes are constantly moving. They never stop. And that too, how they move, they keep shaking and they keep going twisted ways. In the same way, mind is also like that. Mind also doesn't stop. Keeps moving, keeps moving. That's why you see now that even at this point of time, and it is said that the restlessness of the mind has increased much more as the Kali Yuga is progressing. Even for devotees, that's why it is so difficult. Shukadeva Goswami, when he would speak Srimad Bhagavatam, yesterday only I was just discussing. So Srimad Bhagavatam, when he was describing at Shikratal, there is one big tree, Akshaya Vriksha, and below that Shukadeva Goswami is speaking to all the sages, and it is said there are 80,000 sages who are all sitting. And one devotee was asking, how could they hear? Because there was no sound system. How could they hear? So it is a question for us, because we feel that if at all we want to hear, we need a sound system and then only we will be able to hear. But they're all mystic sages and they can hear even without, even why only hear. Even they can hear what is going on in some other part of the country. They can see and also they can do some activities there being here. So mystic sages they are more advanced. So, and also if you see Shukadeva Goswami, the way of narration that is going on, surely he never used any PPT and surely he never cracked any joke. Surely there is the way of Srimad Bhagavatam that is being narrated as per the scripture. All the sages they were very attentive in hearing. So that means, but as the age is going down and down, for us to just hear for 1 hour, it becomes so difficult. The mind is so restless. So that this mind which is very fickle, actually they can only be steadied only if one meditates on the fish of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Then only this fishy mind that can be actually controlled. Also, where does the fish want to live? In the water. It doesn't want to live in a dry place. It actually suffers. So, same way, if our hearts actually become very much liquefied, it is said, even if one wants to bring in Lord's meditation, one's heart also should not be like steel framed. Isn't it? We have heard this in Bhagavatam. It should be liquefied with the soft emotions for lordships and the devotees and the paraphernalia of the Lord. One should have very tender feelings for the Lord and the devotees. If that is not there, the heart becomes actually very dry. In dry place, the fish doesn't live. That means when the heart becomes actually very liquefied by wonderful emotions, then the fishes in the lotus feet of the Lord, they get actually attracted and they come and reside. And that's how one actually can, if you see, when our hearts are, if you see, even when we are actually repentant, when we have very wonderful appreciation for Lord and devotees, you see our chanting actually is very easy. Any of you have observed this? So when our heart is very dry due to too much of criticism or too much of, what do we say, we don't have rebellious mentality or envy mentality, at that time chanting becomes so much difficult. Same way, so when we have our heart very liquefied, then this also happens. And also, a fish cannot live without water. Isn't it true? A fish always wants water. Similarly, the surrendered devotees of the Lord, they also cannot live without meditating on the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. So that means they always cherish meditating on the Supreme Lord. And also, what is the fish actually is there on the flag of one demigod. Any of you know? It is said it is there on the flag of Cupid. It is there on that means even the Supreme Lord, when he has a fish on his lotus feet, he is actually indicating that I have already conquered this Cupid. So you don't have to worry. You just take shelter of my feet and you can actually overcome this lust which is there in the heart. So like that. And also the fish actually also indicates when there is devastation. Material world is a place which is constantly going to get destroyed. Creation, destruction. Creation and destruction. So I had met in Sheshadripuram, I had met Bhakti Vinod Prabhu. He was mentioning, in this apartment, there is constantly Srishti Sthiti Pralaya is happening. He said, Srishti, because it is getting almost constructed. Sthiti, some people are already staying and they're maintaining it. And Pralaya, there are some places which is constructed and they're breaking it. So constantly, and he said, this is one symbol of material world, which is constantly getting Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya. And what is most fearful for a devotee, for a living entity is destruction. Creation is okay. Maintenance is also okay. When destruction happens or something is being snatched away from our life, we become very much fearful. Our mind becomes restless. So it is said that's when Matsya Avatar came to give shelter to all the devotees and all the living entities who were there during the time period of Pralaya. So when this fish is there in the lotus feet, he's actually indicating that I incarnate as Matsya Avatar when there is annihilation to save the devotees. So like that, this is what it is indicating. And another one thing that we will do is we can discuss on elephant goad, which is there on the right foot, middle. No, on the last left finger, right foot, last finger, bottom. So it is said goad is used for what? To control and to tame an elephant. But it is and it is held by a Mavuta, or the person who is there is controlling the elephant. So the devotee's mind is also compared to the elephant. Any of you know why it is compared to an elephant? Why? Because we may say that mind is very turbulent or mind is very fearsome. Then why don't we compare it to lion or a tiger? Yeah. Yeah. Very wonderful point. Vanamal going through is saying, elephant is a tameable animal. And also it is a very friendly animal also. If it is properly trained, it can do many tasks. You might have seen, there are elephants which can actually do some constructive works also. So the elephant, but lions, tigers, they are very fierce and wild animals. And at any moment, they can actually, of course, in Bhagavatam, it is compared to both. In Rishabhadev's section, the mind is also compared to lion, a captured animal, which can actually bounce and it can attack the person itself, isn't it? So like that, elephant is also, but elephant is a tameable animal. That is also there. If it's the same way, mind is also like that, but if it actually goes mad, it can cause huge destruction. Same way, mind, if it is uncontrolled, it can cause huge destruction in our lives and also in the lives of others. You might have seen, I happened to hear one of Maharaj's lectures. There, Maharaj was mentioning of all the animals, the hunters, they say the most difficult animal to catch is an elephant, or to control, that is an elephant. They say they can even control or catch lion or a tiger, but most difficult animal it is the mind, the elephant. So similarly, the mind is like that, which is very difficult to control. And the goad, which is there in the hand of that person, which actually can control and bring the elephant on the right path. Similarly, this meditation on the goad, which is there in the lotus feet of Lord, actually can bring a devotee on the right path. It can save a devotee from the mind becoming uncontrolled. And usually the elephant also is very tall, and it is a tall animal, and one who sits on the top, he is the one who is like everyone else is below him. So it is said the devotee also, when he meditates on the goad of this Lord's lotus feet, he also becomes very much elevated in his bhakti and in his consciousness. and he can overcome the ordinary course of material life and the ordinary walks of people, and then he can actually overcome like that. So like that, there are various things which is there on the. If at all you get a time, you can also read that section, which is there meditating on this lotus feet, which is actually very wonderful for practicing devotees as well. It is not. I don't. It is not. It is not esoteric one, but it is there, which is for a devotee. We can know, like the chakra which is there. That actually, if one meditates on that, it can actually cut the 6 enemies which are troubling the heart. So, and also that chakra, it has so much of brilliance. So it actually can remove the thick gloom which is there in the heart. So like that, very wonderful meditations are there. So we can also try to do that. And it is said, the Bhumi Devi makes sure that Krishna's footprint will never get faded away. And the wind also, when it is blowing, it will make sure that Krishna's footprint, lotus print, it doesn't get faded away. It remains as it is. All the birds, animals, or either Gopa friends, they whenever they see that as soon as Krishna's footprint is there, they'll never step on it. They'll just make sure that that is as it is. Why should they make sure like that? The reason is because whenever devotees, they want to find, because Krishna is very fickle also. Krishna is very playful, and he is not there at one place. He keeps moving. So it becomes very difficult for some time to find where is Krishna. At that time, those footprints, Jai Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maiya ki, Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Srila Prabhu. At that time, the footprints actually become the pathways or the pathfinders for even the Gopas or the Gopis. When they want to find out Krishna, where is Krishna, they always look towards where is the footprints of Krishna, where is he walking by. So in that sense, they are always kept fresh. So this is what Akrura also, when he's going along the path, he's looking at those lotus footprints. And as soon as he immediately gets down from the chariot and he offers obeisances. And he takes the dust and then he proceeds. And he's constantly meditating that as soon as I go, I'll offer my obeisances at the lotus feet of Krishna. And I'll get completely purified. And I'll get rid of all the contamination, whatever I've accrued by serving this Kamsa. Like that, this is the great meditation that Akrura is having. So actually, this is a beautiful meditation that we can also have in our day-to-day life. Because so many times, we are also sometimes in the material world, we may have to do so many things unwillingly. But all throughout, if we can have this beautiful meditation, it can actually save us. Like that. Okay, so yesterday we had been discussing on Krishna's lotus footprints, Krishna's lotus foot markings. So actually, can anybody say total how many markings are there? 19. And Krishna's right foot has how many markings? 11. And left foot has 8. And on the right foot, does anybody remember all the 11? Any one devotee? Yes, Karshitur. Huh? Okay, yeah, good. Okay. Yes, Urdharik. Barley, Chakram. Umbrella, okay. Dhwaja. Thunderbolt. One more I think is missed up. There is Chakra also. Chakra is there. I think up everything is covered. Hai na? Right foot only, rightmost, na? Right foot, left foot, Right foot only, na? First is below the barley only is chakra. Hai na? Yeah. Okay, then? Swastik. Jambu fruit. Octagon is there. Haribol. Okay, on the left foot. Okay, can somebody tell what is there on the left foot? Suppose somebody remembers. Try. Even if it is mistake, no issue. Anybody? Okay. Okay. Whatever all of you remember, you can share. Yeah, please share, please. Yeah. Share. Okay. What other symbols are there which are missing? Fish is there. Okay. Moon. Yeah, very good. Half moon. Yeah. Then triangle is there. Calf's hoof print is there. Then conch shell is there. Water pots are there. Triangle is there. Yeah. Then concentric circles are there. And I think one more is missing. Two are missing. One is Dhanush and one more. Conch. So all these are, I think we have covered everything. So these are the foot markings that is there on Krishna's lotus feet. So yesterday we covered fish, elephant goad, and also chakra. So today we will continue. So it is said half moon which is there on the lotus foot of Krishna. It is also, where else do we find half moon? On the Lord Shiva's lotus head. So it is said that actually that which is the half moon which is there, actually it is actually the remnant of what is there on Lord's feet, and that he is carrying on his head. And because of him carrying it, he has become exalted like Lord Shiva. So yesterday also we heard something on Lord Shiva, how he became exalted. That is by carrying the water that is flowing from the Lord's lotus feet. So this is another. And also moon is famous for offering cooling rays. So in the same way, in the material world, every day morning we sing Samsara Dava Nalali Loka. So that means we are all actually burning in the fire of distress and so much miseries. But actually cooling moon shade actually can come through Lord's lotus feet. And also, what is the deity? If you see, for all our senses, there are different deities connected. Which is the deity for eyes? For eyes, sun. And for ears, Dig Devatas. For hands, Indra. Like that, different deities are there. And which is the deity for mind? Moon. So Lord is actually indicating that you keep your mind on my lotus feet. That is one. And if you see, according to astrology, those who are facing some problems with the mind, they will be asked to worship moon god. But moon god is also Adhipati of under Krishna. So if one worships Krishna directly, then actually all one's mental troubles also will go away. So that's what actually also indicates that. And there are many more things. Yesterday also we read one of the verse where Krishna's lotus feet has toenails, which are like the orb of the moon, which actually shines like anything. And that shining of effulgence, actually it can cure the thick gloom of ignorance or the sin that is there in the heart. So that also it indicates. And also another amazing thing that is mentioned, that is seeing that the lotus feet of the Lord, which has this moon, actually that shines so brightly, the actual moon gets shriveled up and it becomes like half moon. And that is what is mentioned in that is what is there in the lotus feet of the Lord. That is also mentioned. And also, there is another amazing thing that is mentioned. The half-hearted attempts, just like the half moon, the half-hearted attempts of those who are improperly devoted, relishing transcendental topics with wrong attitude. Sometimes devotees may want to read esoteric subject matters, but with a wrong attitude. Those are improperly devoted and crooked or duplicitous cannot approach his lotus feet. They will not develop appreciation for Lord's lotus feet. They will want to just enjoy, but they'll never be able to become devotees. So that's what is being mentioned. And also, just like the half moon gradually becomes a full moon, it slowly progresses. Similarly, those who are taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, they also become, slowly, they'll become pure devotees. That is also mentioned. So this is about the moon, half moon, which is there. And next we will see what is there on half moon is done. And then if you see water pots, the water pots which is there on the left foot of Krishna, usually have you observed in any festival, so Matajis keep water pots, kalasha, and they keep it full water. Why? It is considered a sign of auspiciousness. If you see any water which is filled half, it is not auspicious. That's why they keep it full. So these are water pots full. So, but this is this water pot, it indicates that for a devotee, when he takes to the lotus feet of the Lord, there is not going to be any inauspiciousness in his life. If you see, even in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is thinking that, Lord, suppose if I take to this path of dedicating my life to your service, there come so many dangers. Sometimes I may have to give up my material life, or I may have to give up my material shelter. When I give up my material shelter, and at the same time I have not taken completely spiritual shelter, I get nowhere. I'll become like a riven cloud. Arjuna is thinking like this. At that time Krishna says, Durgatim tata gacchati. So, he says that for a devotee, there is no Durgati. His life is full of auspiciousness. Whatever he does, even if he gives up the devotional path, whatever time that he has spent in devotional life, that is going to be there permanently in his life. So that's why there is going to be always all auspiciousness for a devotee. And also that is mentioned is for a devotee who is actually practicing devotional life, for him there is a reserved pot of nectar already in the lotus feet. Only thing is we have to attain it. Once you attain it, you'll receive that full pot of nectar. So once we had been to Mayapur Dham, as soon as we landed up in during Utkarsha time, Mayapur, this is, I think, it was my first year. So that time, one of the devotee, he gave one full pot of Mishti Dahi. Any of you have taken Mishti Dahi in Mayapur? So it is so sweet and so nectarian. And after taking that Mishti Dahi, of course, he gave to me so that I can distribute it also to other devotees. So it is so sweet and so nectarian. So as soon as you just land up at the lotus feet of the Lord, you are going to receive that full pot of nectar. So it is going to be there. And it is never going to get emptied. It is going to be there. The more you drink, the more it is going to be there. It's like that. And so like that it is. And also, the next one is the bow. The bow which is mentioned. So, what does it indicate? It indicates that the bow, it will make sure, one who takes the shelter of that lotus feet of the Lord, it will make one perpetually free from all worries and difficulties. Because it is an indication of protection. that bow, it is an indication of one's protection. So it will make one fearless. It will make one free from all the worries and difficulties. And also that is mentioned is those who are usually in the material world, they are actually dull-headed. Isn't it true? Dull-headed in what sense? They may be very intelligent, but still they are dull-headed in the sense of they cannot understand any higher subject matters. They think they are too intelligent, because of which also they become very dull spiritually. Their emotions, their sensitivity to higher subjects and to the nature, everything, it becomes very dull. So they are like motionless, like a target. It is mentioned they are dull and motionless like a target. And such people do not come to the lotus feet of the Lord. And whereas those who come to the ultimate goal of feet, they remain there and never go back to the material world. And it is also mentioned, though just like the target, just like a arrow which goes and hits the target, like that, and the arrow will not come back. It just goes and gets stuck there. So similarly, those devotees who meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord, they are like the arrows which go and they get stuck. They will not be able to come back to the material world. And those who wish, then they can do meditation on the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. And then what happens when the mind of such a devotee meets the target of that lotus feet? Then the prema condenses as a result and overflows. That's what is mentioned. Okay, this is about the bow. And another thing that is mentioned about is the concentric circles. It is said concentric circles indicate that the Lord is there within and without everything else. He is there within the, if you see, andantarastha paramanu chayantarastham. That means Lord is there even in the just minutest of the atom. Also Lord is present. And at the same time Lord is there present everywhere. Now then Lord, does he have his own place or no? If he is there everywhere and if he is there in every atom, does he have his own place? Then that's why it is said, Goloka dhamni nijadhamni tale chatasya. That means in Goloka he has made his own residence. Though he is there everywhere and at the same time he has his own place. So like that, Lord is there everywhere and both within and without all the manifestations. And he is also there within the heart of every living entity and without also. We pray every day during Narsimarti. Bahir Narsimha, Hridaya Narsimha, Ito Narsimha, Tato Narsimha. Lord Narsimha is there everywhere. So like that, Krishna's presence is there everywhere, within the circle and outside the circle also. And also, that also shows that also this shows also Rasa dance, where Krishna played Rasa dance with all the gopis. So that circle also this indicates like that. And also next is cow's hoof print. Any shloka that you all remember after Samashritaye padapallavaplavam vatsapadam bhavam budhir vatsapadam Mahat padam punya yasho murare bhavam budhir vatsapadam param padam yatvi padam natesham. So it said, for those who are taking shelter of this lotus feet of the Lord. And how do they take shelter? When we say, okay, we have to take shelter of the Lord, how do we take shelter? The means of taking shelter is by glorifying the lotus feet of the Lord. And by hearing also. Hearing and glorifying. Punya yasho murare. So when we do this of the yasha of the Supreme Lord, when we glorify, then what happens? Bhavam budhir vatsapadam parampadam. That supreme, this material world, which is like a big ocean, and that becomes just like a cow's hoof print. And that you can just cross it without even knowing. So like that. So, and this material world is a place where there is danger at every step, but that world which is completely free. So that's what is actually represented by cow's hoof print. And the fish, yesterday we discussed, and the conch. Usually we know, why do we blow conch before every arti? Symbol of auspiciousness. And also, if you all remember, in Bhagavad Gita also, all of them come and blow their conch. Why? To create fear in the enemy's heart. And it creates terror. Especially when it is mentioned, when Arjuna and Krishna, when they were blowing their shells, conch shells, it was creating terror in the hearts of the Kauravas. But at the same time, when Bhishma was also blowing, it is said, Simhanadam. He was making roar like a lion. But that did not create terror in the hearts of the Pandavas and all the other assemblies. So that means this conch shell also indicates that one is rescued from all distress. And also it gives protection. It makes one fearless. And also, in the worship paraphernalia, also there is a conch. Immediately after we offer ghee lamp to Lord, we have a conch where we offer arghyam. We bathe the Lord with that arghyam. We not bathe, we offer arghyam for sipping the water, like that, or prokshan, where Lord does. So that arghyam water, actually and even in the early morning, for all of us, the devotees come and put the water, arghyam water. So that actually is so cooling and refreshing. It is said, just like that arghya, the conch shell which is there in the lotus feet of the Lord, that also has water, and as soon as you go under the lotus feet of the Lord, you will get a cooling shade, and also you will get a cooling water, refreshed. Any of you have been to any waterfalls and you have taken bath? It's very nice. Actually, I remember when I had been to Ahobilam. In Ahobilam, actually there are very big falls, very difficult to take bath, especially if you go to like Jog or anything like that. But if you go to Ahobilam, in Ahobilam, there is a falls. It is not too high. And when the water falls, you can actually go under and you can stand. And I'll tell you, you will have such refreshing and wonderful experience. And those who have back pain, all the back pain also will go away. So like that, so it is like shower of that nectar and a cooling rainfall that one can experience. And that actually soothes the devotee. So as soon as you have a shower, you feel yourself relieved from the fatigue of the sun heat. So similarly, the devotee will experience soothing experience when he comes under the lotus feet of the Lord. So also, and also this declares ultimate victory. Yeah, if you remember in the Bhagavad Gita, first chapter, all the conch shells when they were blowing, that says this is one of the sign of the victory of the Pandavas, if you remember. So same thing, here also the conch shell actually indicates, you take my shelter and surely you are going to receive ultimate victory. Now we may see that those who are not taking shelter, they actually, though they may be they may do great tapasya, they may have great learning, but they'll never attain the ultimate liberation from the material world. And now we may ask, what happened to Vishwamitra Muni? Why could he not, he was doing tapasya for 60,000 years. Why could he not attain the lotus feet of the Lord? Because he was not actually taking shelter. He was actually just taking the shelter of meditation under the process of yoga. But actually if he had been, that's why it is said, later he humbled himself and wanted to serve Supreme Lord as his teacher. So after doing that service of doing Vishwamitra Muni, he also became a very great and pure devotee. So that means ultimate victory will come to the devotees only when they take shelter of the Lord. Even karmis, jnanis, or yogis, they can also attain their own destinations only when they take shelter of the Lord. If they don't take shelter, they also will not be able to attain. So that is what is mentioned. And disc we already discussed. And also in the disc it is mentioned that also that disc actually represents time factor. And that disc, those who come to take shelter of the Supreme Lord, they go beyond the time. They'll become transcendental to time. That is also mentioned like that. And gourd also we discussed yesterday. And flag. Usually in this world, we use the flag for what purpose? Huh? To show victory also. Then? Huh? Yeah. We are from a specific nation or a team, like that way. And also, if you see, somebody went to moon and they put their flag, isn't it? To show that we have already reached and we have reached our destination. We have made our success. So like that, Lord, when they come to take shelter of the Lord, that indicates that you will surely attain success. And you will make your destination, you will attain to your destination. And that also indicates great security and safe protection from all fear. And also, victory for all the Sakhis. Yeah. Okay, this is about the flag. And about the thunderbolt. Yesterday also we discussed the thunderbolt. What did we discuss? Anybody remembers? Huh? Yeah, it can break the mountain of sin. So this is also, it indicates, it breaks the mountain of that great sin which is there in the heart. And also it indicates one can become as exalted as the one who is holding the thunderbolt. Who is that? Indra. Now, I don't know how much we may appreciate. Oh, should I become as exalted as Indra? We may feel, but we should also understand Indra is also not an ordinary devotee. See, if we see that throughout he lives for the period of one entire Manu. So that means for entire one Manvantara, that means almost equivalent to 71 Chaturyugas. He lives for that duration. And in that duration, throughout his life, he may do one or two mistakes like this, here and there. Now, but if we see that only he is doing these mistakes, and if you don't appreciate the exaltedness of even Indra, that also becomes a fault on our side. So Indra is also not an ordinary devotee. So one can become as exalted as Lord Indra. That is also mentioned. And also this indicates, Vajra also indicates in the dynasty of Yadu, future, one great exalted devotee is going to come. He is going to be Vajranab. And he is going to mark the places of all the pastimes of Krishna. So that is also mentioned. And the lotus which is mentioned, that lotus in the lake, if you see, is the lake beautiful naturally? It actually becomes beautiful if there is a presence of all the lotuses. Isn't it true? The lotuses actually make the lake very beautiful. So similarly, it is said the mind of a devotee is also compared to a lake. And in that lake, when there is a lotus means what? The lotus feet of Krishna. When it is there, then that actually makes the lake of the mind also very beautiful. And also a lotus is famous for what? Possessing nectar. Isn't it true? It possesses nectar which bees can come and suck the nectar. Similarly, yesterday also, if you remember, we were singing this song. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande Manamanasa Madhukara Marpaya Nija Pada Pankaja Makarande. So there it is said, Pankaja Makaranda. So that Makaranda, the sweet honey, is there in the lotus feet of the Lord. And to suck that lotus, the honey from the lotus feet of the Lord, the devotees actually go. They are like the bees. And they put their mind at the lotus feet of the Lord and they suck their honey. So those who are actually bee-like devotees, they actually suck the honey from the lotus feet of the Lord. That is mentioned. And also, yesterday also we were seeing that fishes do not stay at a place which is dry. They always like to stay at a place which is wet. Similarly, lotus also will not grow if the place is very dry. So similarly, in the mind of a devotee, which is wet with wonderful consciousness of Krishna, and that in that place, the lotus footprints meditation can actually happen. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult. And also, lotus is also a symbol of whom? Which goddess? Lakshmi. So that also indicates that Goddess Lakshmi is actually constantly serving the Supreme Lord. Like that. Actually, so many things are there. I think I'll go ahead. Then last few are there. Umbrella. Umbrella, usually one holds umbrella in which season? Rainy season. To protect oneself from the rain, waters. So similarly, this material world is compared to be pouring constantly the rain of threefold miseries. And if one wants to protect oneself, then one has to hold this umbrella. The Lord's lotus feet is compared to be this umbrella. And also Krishna indicates one wonderful pastime which he performed, showing this umbrella. Any guess? Govardhan Hill. So he made that Govardhan Hill as umbrella, and which gave wonderful, great protection for all the devotees, and also it was a place of very wonderful loving exchanges between his devotees. So that also it shows. And also, usually when one is holding an umbrella, somebody holds an umbrella for somebody who is like a king, isn't it? You see, when Krishna was actually going from Hastinapur to Dwaraka, there were many people who were doing chamara for him, and there were many who were coming and holding umbrellas for Krishna. So that indicates that one can actually become an exalted king or a Mahajan when one takes shelter of the Supreme Lord. So that is also mentioned. And also, barley corn. So that means usually barley is an indication of a grain. That means usually we feel nourished by eating grains. Isn't it true? At least in Kali Yuga, see, in earlier times people would just eat fruits and roots and they would be satisfied also. Rishis. But in Kali Yuga, it is said the prana is in anna. That means in anna, when you don't eat, that's why on Ekadashi we feel so much restless, or we feel no energy in the body. The reason is we are not eating these grains. So that indicates barley indicates nourishment that the Lord gives to all the devotees when they meditate. And also, it is said, one who takes shelter of this lotus feet, the devotee's journey through many, many births and death, actually it cuts short, just like a grain of barley. The grain of barley can be easily cut. Similarly, the samsara chakra of a devotee also can be easily cut, like that. And last few, the triangle. I'll just complete, I think, just 2-3 minutes, I think I'll take. The triangle, the 3 sides, it has 3 sides. What does it indicate? It indicates the devotee. Okay, can you all tell me what all 3 things that, threes that you hear in Shastras or in Krishna consciousness? 3 miseries a devotee will overcome. Then 3 modes. Then what else? Huh? 3 doers, huh? Which are? Okay. Actually, there are 5 components. So, okay, fine, yeah. Then what else? Three worlds. One can overcome three worlds. That is also there. Then, Tripad Vibhuti. Which is that? This is Ekapada Vibhuti. Material world is Ekapada. That means it is 1/4. And that spiritual world is Tripad. Then, what else? It is said all the like demigods, animals and humans, three categories of species, they can also take shelter of the Lord. Those are liberated, not liberated. Those who are desiring liberation, those are liberated, and those who are sense enjoyers. All of them, the only shelter is the Supreme Lord. Like this, there are so many threes. There is a verse also where Krishna is also called the Lord of the threes. It comes in one of the verses in Bhagavatam. Okay. Last, I think few are there. The upcurving line. What does it indicate? It shows there is a sure short way for pathway back to Godhead. And it is very straight, very direct, but it is also very thin. It is like a razor's edge. So be careful when you are walking on this path. This is what it shows. And it is like a lifeline. If you hold on to this, you will not fall down. So that's what is mentioned. Okay. We'll go to Swastik. Swastik is a symbol of auspiciousness. So one who takes shelter will always be auspicious. And octagon. Octagon has 8 directions, isn't it? So one who takes shelter of this lotus feet of the Lord, he'll get protected from all 8 directions. And also, he will attain, and for this devotee who is taking shelter of this Lord, for him, there is nothing unattainable within all 8 directions. That is also mentioned. And also, 8 mystic powers are also very easily accessible for a devotee. And last is blackberry fruit. If you see, all of you have eaten blackberry fruits, jamun, right? So this Dvipa, according to cosmology, is which Dvipa? Jambudvipa. We are all residing in Jambudvipa. For all Jambudvipa, what did they say? Just like Indians, for all Indians, just like that, for all those are residents of Jambudvipa, the worshipable object in this world is lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So that Jambu fruits indicate like that. So I think we covered all the 19 marks. So Swastik is a symbol of all auspiciousness. Like that. So thank you all very much for giving me this opportunity where I could also meditate. And if it was no opportunity was not there, surely I don't think I would have done so much meditation. So thank you all very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So Anirudh Seva Prabhu is asking, is it required that this meditation should be done at the time of chanting? So just like I mentioned before, there is a concentration point. The point of the circle has a center point, which if we can focus on the center, it is best. Because Prabhupada also said, just hear the holy name. And all the acharyas also mentioned the same. We don't have to stray our mind to different things. But if we are unable to even chant properly, and our mind is going to some materialistic thoughts, sometimes not just mundane thoughts, it goes to even sinful thoughts. So it is much better that one meditates on the lotus feet of the Lord, which can actually naturally give an inspiration to again hear the holy name. So our whatever we do, especially when I mentioned circle of concentration, if we can actually if we can meditate on those aspects, which can actually again inspire us and trigger us to hear the holy name, that kind of a meditation is useful. Because Krishna is also saying, when mind goes, bring it back again. So what is the way of bringing it back? Meditation on these kind of aspects. But if one is able to hear the holy name, just hear the holy name.